You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you guys did a great job last week on Monday. Um, I think last week was what Amazon and Georgia Farmers Insurance,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
or was the We Are Farmers folks. So this is another consulting case. I did promise that I'll have a little bit more um, numbers for us to do because I think it's always great to kind of build your quantitative skills in addition to your creative skills. So you get an idea of exactly like what you're speaking to. When we're starting today, we're going to have WeWork and we're going to have Apple. So there are two recent campaigns for specific stuff. So to start, just another playback to what our creative consulting cases are. So basically, you're hired as a creative consultant for two business clients. So these are people that have businesses, larger corporations, mid-sized firms, anything in relationship to like marketing. Um, oh, and also to go ahead and get a pen and paper out if you need it, because it'll be 10 minutes this time. I'm going to try to keep it all within one go around. Again, these are the four P's of marketing, right? You have placement, product, promotion, and price. So these are kind of things we talked about last week. Today, we're going to be looking at specific campaigns. So we're going to be doing a lot of work in product and promotion and in place. Can you guys see my little blue dot moving?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So again, we'll have 8 minutes, well, 10 minutes now with the CMOs of the company. We want to offer three creative recommendations to the marketing and advertising teams. We want to optimize their customer acquisition strategy via advertising and marketing. So working with two tech companies today. Um, so just imagine that you are hired, you fly out to the headquarters in California for Apple, and then for WeWork, I think their headquarters is in New York, and you have this 10 minutes to talk through some of the problems that the business is having. Um, so we'll start. So consulting case A, right? You're working with WeWork. Does everybody know what WeWork is? Have you guys been in a WeWork building before? Okay.
No.
So it's actually WeWork. There's a little spelling boo boo there, but WeWork is a
Pull it
multinational.
up. Google it. Pull it up. Let's see it.
Hold on. Um, you'll probably see it in the advertisement because it's kind of good that you don't know
No, okay,
what
good.
WeWorks is.
Okay.
So WeWorks is a multinational real estate company, right? They do flexible shared workspaces for technology startups and other services. So that can be media company online, somebody like us. That can be a true tech company. We have engineers in there, or any range of different companies that require you to have office space. Um, Recently, during 2020 COVID, work from home has opened up a new market of WeWork clients that can come into the space. So before it was mostly smaller businesses that were able to use this as office space. So they have coffee, they have um, place for you to meet clients, they have other technology there, internet, all those things. It's a really cool environment there. And now that people work from home, they're also choosing this as an option to work from home and collaborate with other employees that they work with. Um, Now, this company was slated for an IPO, I believe, in 2019. They started preparing documents for IPO, but they had some changes in leadership. And unfortunately, that change in leadership resulted in some big losses in their valuation. So now they're looking to build that evaluation back up. Pre-COVID, it was at $47 billion in terms of evaluation, and now it's at 2.9 billion as a result of this change. So they had a
That's a
massive.
huge drop, like huge.
It's I think they were the second largest IPO evaluation under Uber. So
Mm.
keep that in mind. It's a very big problem. So they're looking for a lot of solutions. Um, just think of this strategy creatively: increasing membership, plus increasing short-term lease rents is revenue growth. So this model is through subscriptions. So everybody has a little card. I think I have mine. I have like a little WeWork. Oh man, it's blending in with the thing. Okay, you have like a little WeWork card. So you tap in the building, you have access to it. So your client is the chief marketing officer of WeWork. I believe it's Roger Soul. I believe. I know. I hope I don't mess the name up. But He was the previous
Roger Soleil. When you have that,
Soleil.
yeah, when you have that little thing over there, Soleil.
Yes, Soleil. I think it's executive. But Roger Soleil was the previous CMO of Sprint, and now he's at WeWork. So we're going to look at their new ad, um, considering these new things. We're going to look at one for the U.S. and then one for Atlanta right here in our market, and then we will basically kind of break it apart and see what we can change to the ad to increase membership. Keep in mind, 90% of people in a recent survey said that they want to go back to the office only 1 or 2 days a week, but they want to have space to collaborate. Um, they have long-term commercial leases are causing businesses to look at this shorter business model as a way to save costs because longer-term leases are really expensive. And their whole idea is what is the future? What is the future of work? That's their new campaign that they've been releasing since COVID. And their answer is WeWork is the future of work. So you're looking to build business to business relationships in addition to business to consumer relationships. So let's look at number one. You guys here?
Mm-mm.
Something we used to say without much thought. Now, it's never carried more weight. We know things will be different, but are asking ourselves, how will it work? How will we put our heads together in a space that makes us feel safe? How can we avoid fixed costs in a variable world? How do we build a business without building an office and transform the workspace from a place to come to work to a space where work comes to life? How do we go from what wasn't working to what will?
So, what do you guys think? Initial thoughts, ideas, some things that you noticed in the ad.
My first thought was like, I had no idea what they were like talking about the first like 20 seconds. I thought it was way too conceptual. And I
Mhm.
was like, I don't really understand what you're going for here until they were like, well, that's where we come in, like at WeWork. And so I don't know, something that like simplifies the beginning more. I see what they were going for, but it was too out there. They need to simplify it more. Also something I thought about was I see them like trying to relate to people like from Atlanta. I thought the difference in their ads was funny, but
Yes, me too.
also Cam, in the pitch deck, wasn't some of the statistics that like there's a huge amount of people in the workforce here that aren't even from Atlanta?
Yeah, so that's important. Yes, so there is. I think I know for the Go Deeper podcast there were some stats in there, but I'm not sure if it was in this one specifically. But there are some people working from home now that don't have businesses that are using WeWork. So yeah.
True, yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I think I like how they were trying to like appeal to like the Atlanta vibe. But I also think they might have taken it a little bit too far to where it can potentially turn off people who aren't from Atlanta.
Yeah, I feel like it was a little not cheesy, but like I well, I don't know. What do you guys think about the whole like talking, like the narration of the ad as opposed to like the visuals that they were using?
It sounded like a Nike commercial, but that's
Yeah,
not what was
like
being
something
displayed.
sportsy. I thought it was like a Falcons commercial when he started when we rise and we rise higher or something. I was like, all right, where he's getting at. Then there's like space, space, space. So I was like, okay, like you said, Jules, it was really like conceptual. I was just like, all right. In the beginning, I was like, okay, it's in Atlanta. We know it's in Atlanta. It's showing Atlanta. This is a commercial about Atlanta. What
Hmm.
about Atlanta?
Yeah,
And so it wasn't really like
just kind of broad or
right, yeah.
okay.
It wasn't really appealing to me
Yeah.
of what they're trying to get their customers or get their sales in, you know. In terms of the world, the national well, I mean, the worldwide commercial,
Hmm.
it was the same as every other worldwide commercial for every other company.
Hey,
Um,
Amy,
and
what about you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm on a similar track. Like I noticed that like with the Atlanta, they had a lot more creatively inclined professions on display. Like they had like musicians and maybe more like creative designers kind of um work vibes showing there. And like not everyone in Atlanta is a creative or like an artist. Like there's some pretty, standard white collar office jobs. And I feel like they're not totally conveying how exactly I don't know, like they're different or like what exactly they're doing for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like it's like I like the vibe of it, like they said, like Andrew said, like it's pretty like sporty, like pretty active. And like as a vibe I get it, but like I don't get it in context of workplaces.
Right,
Okay.
like why are you going to try to appeal to those kinds of people when like they already have their own studio spaces, but like there's people that are working from home because of COVID that are seeking some sort of like safe place to work because sometimes coffee shops are really overwhelming.
Mhm.
And I don't know, if I were looking for like an alternative place to work besides a coffee shop, I would not go there.
Right. Yeah. Um, I agree with you guys too. But what would you suggest like change? Is it I think that the message overall, I think that the whole company is pretty broad, but like how would you guys basically like draw that into a specific niche? Or like do they not have an audience in mind, do you think? Or do they um are, maybe you think that there's not a developed enough strategy to get into certain people, or what do you think they should change about their promotion that can like help them to get to more specific people? Because now, mind you, right now they have an on-demand option, so that it's like $10 an hour to book a meeting space, or you can book an actual desk. And I think that that's like $29 a month, or for every day if you just want to do the on demand. But then they have monthly options too, where you can subscribe for like $200 a month if it's just you. So, um, what do you think? How do you think they can kind of like play their product offerings to the audience that they need to be targeting? Are
And
they
I think
too
there are
hard?
like two extremes that they can do. I mean, right now they're already at one extreme with the broad sense, but even within that, they could start showing more diverse. Like
Mm-hmm.
if they're gonna do like a really broad video, that they should show like more diverse workspaces and get like change the wording or like the narration to like better tell that story. Or
Mm-hmm.
like you're saying, they could go very very specific and they can group it into like creative jobs where like there's a lot of collaboration stuff versus other jobs where it's like everyone's kind of like at their desk kind of doing separate things where it's more like I don't know, like they can categorize based on like working environments, like
Mm-hmm.
I was
like
just
like
about
it's
to
not
say
like it's
that.
not like they have to do like for every single kind of job that's out there, but every single kind of
Type.
flow
Yeah.
workflow type. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
people have different workflows, but like all creatives, like not everyone's like a fashion designer or an architect, but we still have like a general flow of like collaboration or like a creative messy spaces or like coming together. Like that's the workflow more or less, whether it's fabric or graphic or architecture, versus I don't know, like law, where it's more, they have all their resources and storage of like books and all that kind of stuff, and they're like more on their own versus I don't know, something else.
So, how do you guys think they can do that? Like they can show that in their ads?
Just out. So in Atlanta, they have so many locations. They can promote the locations they're in. So I'll say like they had one in Buckhead. You know, a lot of rappers they want to feel like they're top notch. They can promote. We got they can promote their studios up in Buckhead. Rent a studio out in Buckhead or whatever, and actually promote their locations. Based on the like Naomi said, the work environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Like I think they can try to, at least for the Atlanta one, make it a part of the community. So like a hub where people go. And if they do make it more specific, like Aomi and Andre were talking about, then they have the ability to do that. In terms of the national campaign, I just was constantly thinking to myself, like, what is the difference between like this and just like the company having their own office space like they used to? So I think like if they do something that kind of highlights like the coworkers like coming together at this one location, I feel like they just jumped from like the empty space to suddenly everyone's in it.
Yeah.
And so it seems like just a regular office, but I think their benefit is that it is temporary, that you don't have to pay to have it rented out the whole time. And that's what they should be highlighting.
Yeah.
I think it could also appeal to like smaller companies because a lot of companies, like there's a perception, kind of going to like what Andre said, is a lot of perception that people have when they see the location. So there are a lot of smaller companies that don't have a lot of money and probably don't have a lot of, I don't know, whatever it is they're doing. But like having the address on like their business card or whatever saying, oh, so place in Buckhead, for instance, like it automatically changes a lot of perception for some people that it really helps their business. So they could try and appeal to that they're in like these big places that big companies are in, and smaller companies can get some of the benefits of that location without having to pay all that money.
Yeah. So it sounds like being more like hyper local in how they market each individual location as its own as its own brand within the city, as opposed to this is WeWork across the board. I like that idea too, because I think that that's a challenge that they've had. Is that all of the WeWorks have similar styles and feelings, but then at the same time, I feel like considering that we do have like a bunch of different locations, each location can have its own specific niche of content that they have out there.
And
But
actually, each location has a different design style.
yeah,
They all look different. So, um, what I agree with all of you guys. Also, they could have showcased people that are already in WeWork. You know
hmm
what I mean? They could have used that as part of it. Like just to like again, just showcasing the different kinds of work. Also, they could have showed how people are going crazy from working from home, right? Like that juxtaposition of working from home and dying to get into a collaboration space.
yeah,
You could see like, running kids all over the house and all of that stuff, how you can't just get nothing done. That would have been really great if it's a work from home situation like we're in now.
yeah.
Right?
I know this is going, oh,
No,
Go.
you're good. You
Go,
keep
go.
there.
I know this is going overtime, but do they offer like childcare?
No,
I don't think so.
no.
I think that should be something that they consider because like there's like kids like doing virtual school and things like that. I mean, even if it's just like some sort of daycare ages like 1 through 5, that would help a lot of like working parents. And there's a lot of those in Atlanta.
Also, they could showcase different setups, right? Like they should be appealing to what's happening now in the market. Let's say, okay, Atlanta, everybody really wants podcast space. Like, what are the spaces that people are looking for? They're not addressing the space. That's why they don't want to go. Like, people don't like going on WeWork. It's not. They don't have the spaces.
Yeah, they need to show the utility of the spaces that people are renting based on the cities. Like if you're in LA, there's no reason to have meeting space. You need to have studio sets that are,
Oh,
basically.
another thing that they could do is it's kind of going to what Kat said about the people who are already at WeWork. So like if you're renting spaces to people already and you know what they do, you could also use that as a marketing strategy to be like, oh, because like a lot of people are like trying to gather people into their teams, maybe not long term, maybe like short term, maybe they like need like a few tasks done by a designer, like a graphic designer or a fashion designer.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, this space, we already have fashion designers, blah, 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 we're into space. So if you're interested in collaborating with those people, maybe like getting their advice or like, getting consulting from them. Like these are people that are already in the space
Yeah,
that you can come and do your own work. And when you need like feedback, you could communicate with this other designers.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Like putting making certain hubs like for specific types of industries, and then others. You're a creator, like you said, you can go to one where there's other people with businesses that are similar to yours to collaborate in that space.
Exactly.
Those are some good ideas. Those are some
And
good.
the voiceover, they need a different person. Like that was very dry voiceover person on both.
I didn't like that.
Like the Falcons.
Thank you guys. So now we're on our second client, Apple. I told you we're going to be looking at some numbers today, but don't get overwhelmed. This is from their um, fiscal reports last year, in the last quarter, I believe, or close to the last quarter. I'm not sure if they've already released the ones from December, but if not, we're just going to stick with these for right now. So this is their Apple at Work campaign,
Mhm.
released to do their business to business sales with the Apple business sales verticals. So basically, when you think of Apple products, of course, we think of them as going to the Apple store, getting a phone, right? But Apple has to find different ways to really impact all parts of their organization through specific types of marketing strategies. You don't ever see a lot of commercials where the phones are like necessarily the one thing. You might have a really big like iPhone commercial. When it comes to marketing all the other commercials, instead of making, in this case, two, three, four, five, like 5 or 6 different commercials for each thing, they're starting to release commercials that encompass all of the things that are in the commercial. I know that we like product placement type of things, so I picked this one. Um, so basically, they're trying to, again, in COVID, a remote business strategy is how people have to do business. So you have employees working from home. I mean, they have to have computers and stuff, right? They gotta have computers and iPads and iPhones and all those things. So right now, there's a demand for that, even though this commercial came out a little bit later. So we're gonna look at the commercial and offer some suggestions for changes to the commercial, or just give some feedback on the commercial overall that we saw. So basically, these are their sales from last year in terms of revenue, and it compares it for the year prior. And if you look at these are in millions. But what I more so want you guys to look at is the percentages that are related to their product mix, because that'll give you an idea of what's selling where and how it's being sold. In a Apple business package, they sell everything. So they can include MacBook Pro, iPhone, um, earpods, the whole nine. I don't know why your whole company would need earpods, but it depends on how much bank you got to get everybody earpods.
Mm.
So iPhones are 40%, MacBooks are 13, iPads are 10, home and wearables are 12%, and then streaming services are 22%. I'll have to check to see how much higher this went up from the last 5 or 6 years. But as you can see, iPhones is where most of their revenue comes in.
Mhm.
Um, but the business promotions will be across all of these different platforms. So this will be our client. He's the vice president of marketing and communications. His name is Tor. He did the baby E-Trade commercials. So he's straight out of ad agency life. That's his thing. You guys remember the baby on E-Trade?
Mhm. Mhm. I
So that
remember.
was him. So that's his thing there.
Okay.
Uh, so let's take a look at the ad, and then we will compile some notes.
Guys, guys, I just got us a meeting with Vivian. What? How? I just bumped into her. What, you just asked for a meeting? Yeah. Is there anything I can do? Actually. When? Just now. No, when's the meeting? Oh, Thursday, 8 a.m. Next Thursday? Yes. No, this Thursday. What? That's impossible. We can do this, okay? Box is back. It's just a sketch. That's all we have. 2 days? We need 2 weeks. This is how we get off this floor. Dave, can you get some sales figures on pizza boxes? I should sick. It's so simple. Round pizza, round box. Hey, who's hungry? We have to prove what's wrong with pizza boxes. Just where wasted space. Yeah. Do I really have to go see my compliance? Yeah. Hey, Mike. I just wonder if you could send inbox. We have this idea. We need some sort of 3D prototype. I gotta pick up the kids. I just want to get you all together. We need to find a name for the box. Roundabout. Squircle? Circle box? Who's that? Hey Siri, turn on Do Not Disturb. Brian. I'm awake. Hey Siri, tell Bridget I'm running late. No. What's wrong?
This is all wrong. Dave, can you please double check those figures for us?
Anyone here from Ed and Warehouse?
He's putting together the prototype now.
What are you guys working on? Nothing. Nothing. Move that over there. Make that title bigger.
Guys!
We're almost there.
You know how it works. I mean, I don't even...
What are you doing, bud? Hey, can I have that back? I'll email you the video.
Just airdrop it to me. Sweet. You guys, I just got the prototype. Whoa. This is gonna look so good in the presentation. Awesome.
Wow. I'm awake.
It's time.
Did anyone press a button?
All right. So I absolutely love that commercial. Um, I am definitely a sucker for the cinema look, but I will open up for questions, concerns, comments, ideas. Do you guys want to watch it again, or you think you're good?
Once I'll be right back, guys. I gotta open my door for father.
Hold on. All right, I'm gonna press start, and then Andre can just hop in. So, what do you guys think starting out?
It was too long for me.
Okay.
I
Like, you
concur.
didn't need all that.
I concur with Mayomi. I thought it was long also.
hmm When I looked at it, I feel like it was pretty cohesive with Apple's ambiguity that they give their brand, and I think that they, like, for example, they're kind of like how Tesla is in a way, because you don't really, it's not really about the product per se, it's more so about the emotion behind the product. So I think that was a good format to do it at 3 minutes. I mean, that's probably the length of a, like, it was a lot of information. So I'll go back to, um because I really wanted to show the product placement of things. Like, for example, in the video,
Bumped into her.
they,
Just mute it as you're going through it, Cam. Yeah.
so, like, for example, there were small places inside of the video where, okay, so there's the Apple Pencil,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have the iPad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then here you have another iPad, the iPhone. They're not wearing Apple Watches, I don't see, but you have another iPhone here, and then you have, like, where they use augmented reality. So that's a new feature when they were doing the mock-up. So I liked how they did all of that in that 3 minutes. But I mean, all in all, if it was shorter, what would you change?
I would make the beginning shorter. I loved the end, how the suspense was like building up to this meeting. Like, that's when I really got invested in this video. The beginning dragged on a little bit. In terms of product placement, she like literally just got in a car crash, like someone just bumped into her.
Mhm.
It could have been like her phone flying forward and her checking, and she's like, oh, like it's fine.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it seemed really relatable towards the end, because I feel like we can all relate to those like pressures of deadlines.
Mhm.
But the beginning, they should shorten the beginning.
Okay. Now, overall, for a business, for example, like us, we have demands, or we need computers and things like that. Do you guys think that what is their message that you think is getting across from the video? Do you think it's more so appealing to the employees to bring to their bosses, or do you think it's more so for their bosses to look at it and say, wow, maybe we should get Apple, maybe we should have Apple at work?
I think it's a bit of both. I'm not an Apple user. Like, I don't like use Apple. I mean, because first of all, like the kind of work that I do, like I need a stronger computer than what like a lot of the Apples provide. But the sense that I got, like the kind of work that they were doing was more presentation. That makes any sense. Like they were preparing a presentation, and I think that's where the strength of what they were trying to do is, like, you're trying to prepare a presentation, but you're also trying to do like between multiple people trying to share it, get feedback, correct stuff, translate from like written to digital, like illustrations. I know like Apple, the iPad has like pretty good softwares to do that. Like the, I don't know, what's the one that's been popular? Like Procreate and some of the other like apps that are on the program that like help a lot of that illustration to take place. So I think that's like mostly the selling point, you know what I mean? Because I don't use Apple, but from what I've seen, because it's like a pretty like thin device, so I doubt that it has enough strength to do some of the more complicated things that you would do at work. So I think the biggest focus on it, that like every occupation I believe does, is presentations. So I think that's like the focus of what, you know, it's offering.
I think the original, well, like answering your question, Kim, was like, is it about like the individual or like the bosses? Should they get those for the employees? And I think they did a good job at kind of making it about both. Like, yes, the entire video was about like the underdogs, that like tiny team, but they emphasized teamwork when they were like, oh, just airdrop it. That was like how convenient it is for everyone to have the same device. Um, and that's something that like you don't just have to be at the bottom to relate to. I think by making the commercial about the bottom, they made it more like an upward kind of pyramid so that everyone can relate to. Because if it was just businessmen or like business people, not really like the interns and things like that, or like the lower employees, then it wouldn't be relatable to them.
Yeah,
So I think
exactly.
they made it about everyone.
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
that makes a lot of sense because like a lot of the other things in the iPad have to do with like third party softwares, you know what I mean? Because like I saw that they open like Google Docs and stuff like that, which is not Apple necessarily.
Mhm.
But I feel like the biggest part is like everyone having the same device and you can share it pretty effectively. So yeah, I agree with Julia on that.
Andre, do you have anything?
Unmute.
Andre, you're on mute. Okay.
Um, yeah, I just agree with both Jews and Naomi on how they merge business and personal. When he was in the shower and he had to talk to Siri, or he was running late, he had to talk to Siri and make a call. So it's just they're relatable, and just being able to merge business and personal together. They did a good job on that.
So,
Yeah, that's answering your question. They did good job on both.
so in the last 4 minutes, I want us to imagine that the advertising executive on this particular account has asked us to come up with another commercial. Let's try to put some bones together for a new one. Considering some of the things that we talked about. What do you guys think? I know Naomi mentioned different use of the iPads and of the technology to show a stronger strength in it. How do you think we can convey that to like an Apple audience? I was even thinking maybe, you know, maybe we can do something where we have, I know Apple's big on lifestyle. So maybe doing something where you have like a little kid jogging with the Apple Watch or something, and they're drawing some spaceship or something on their phone or on their Apple Watch. I don't know. And maybe they're like jogging through this thing, and they're growing up over time, and they're showing the evolution of Apple products. Maybe that would be a cool thing. And show how much stronger the Apple product is. I don't know. What do you
Well,
guys think? What are some themes that we can work with?
are they trying to like with these commercials, are they trying to get people who already use Apple products to get new Apple products, or are they trying to pull from the Android crowd in? Because
Both, really.
Sounds like
so
they're trying to get into the workforce. They're trying to make it more business than personal. I mean, like Andre said, it did bring a bit of that personal in there, which I think was successful. But I feel like they're trying to like sell to businesses. That makes
right,
sense.
I think like what they did in incorporating like the kids and the iPads, like that was clever because it made it more relatable, but like all of these kids already have iPads. Like they're not, if they're trying to pull from the Android people, they need to have it more of like them at work or like
Yeah.
being like business people, not necessarily like homebodies.
So maybe they can do a roast campaign with people that use Androids at their job.
No, I don't like that. I will use an Android.
Well,
Honestly,
Exactly.
when it
it's
comes to
exciting.
business, like
Yeah,
I
what would
like
be
the
the system
commercial, but when
saver?
it comes to business, I don't think Apple can really, like, besides the presentation, like in terms of other things, I don't know if they're necessarily winning in terms of the business,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of technical things that people working need that Apple just does not provide. Like
Well,
like it's portable, like it's convenient, like
mhm.
it's pretty and all, like the illustrations, sure, but like people are doing some serious stuff at work. Like it's not, storing photos and, making making illustrations all day. So
Now
I don't know if that comparison would be
I would say this though.
successful.
I mean, think about the left and right Twix. Think about Popeyes and KFC. I mean, not Popeye, Popeyes and Chick-fil-A. So those types of things are what I'm thinking will draw up some YouTube and Twitter attention to maybe have the same situation happening with maybe senior level executives who haven't adopted the new Apple technology yet. Maybe we
Mm.
start having them, have their fax machines blow up and somebody come in with the iPad and say, "Hey, I saved it in the cloud."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What's the cloud?" Like it could be
The
something like
cloud
that.
isn't
Like,
specific to Apple, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Like it's not an Apple thing. I don't know if you're getting like my point. Like there's a lot, like the commercial was good, but a lot of the things that were helping the product were third-party softwares that you can get
uh,
in other places. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like I'm trying to see like what is it about Apple specifically that would make you choose that over all the other things that are working just as well, if not better. Because there are a lot of products you can't even get on Apple.
Mhm.
So like I'm trying to like, I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. Like I think the strengths are with the ease of it, like the portability of it, the being able to share between multiple devices.
or
Mhm.
what
Being
else?
able-
And the
Yeah,
presentation
yeah,
capability.
the presentation. I think those are like the big things that are like really it for the product to me anyway. At least that's how I'm seeing it.
Well, I concur with Naomi because, I have a different computer too because Apple can't